Hello! Today's video is another face-to-face chat where I sit in front of the camera and give you updates about my life and things that are happening in my life and how they relate to the YouTube channel. I'm going to address the elephant in the room right off the bat. I don't know what the hell happened to my hair. It's not green, but the navy blue dye I put in it has faded in such a way that in certain types of lighting it gets this like green sheen to it. I don't know why that happened, but I've just embraced it. It's a part of me now. So, yeah, so there's that. The last time I sat in front of the camera it was a long time ago. I think it was like November? October? November? It was when I announced my name change, when I ditched my birth name and adopted my new first name Florence, or Flo for short. You guys were unanimously supportive of that name. You gave a lot of positive response to the name. Some of you have immediately adopted calling me by that name, and I really appreciate that. It means a lot, so thank you. I have no regrets with the name change. It became legal on December 31st, 2018, so it's my legal name now, and I friggin' love it, and I have no regrets about anything, and it's so friggin' nice to not have to introduce myself to new people or whatever with a male name anymore. So that's really, really nice. So that's great. So here's the thing. The last few times I talked about my life to you guys, the gist of the whole story was that my life was sort of in a rough place. I graduated university and then had a super hard time finding work. I wasn't able to find work. Months and months of applying, and I got a few interviews, but nothing ever came out of them. And I've been unemployed. I had to move back here to my mom's house, which is why videos have resumed in my old bedroom, just like the good old times. And yeah, it's really sucked, and basically all I put it as in that video was that, I was, trying to remain hopeful. Just keep doing what I'm doing and working at it as much as I can, and hope that something would come up eventually. Well, in today's video, I've got a lot of news, and it's good news, and news related to that. First of all, I'll just get right to the point. I have a job now. 3 weeks ago, I started a new job at a local insurance company here. I've basically been hired as two roles. The primary role is IT. I'm pretty much the one dedicated IT person in the office now. I provide in-office tech support to all the other employees and perform other IT-related tasks. And it's been, as far as what I've been told and stuff, it's been years since they had a dedicated IT person. And so there is a lot of stuff for me to do, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I started in the middle of February. I'm filming this on March 21st. The 25th will make 1 month that since I've gotten this job. And yeah, I did keep it away for a while, mostly out of laziness, because it's always, less exciting and more boring to make a video like this as opposed to my usual videos. But also, I wanted to sort of settle in and, sort of pinch myself and make sure it was real before I got on camera and said, I have a new job! So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I friggin' love it. It is, bar none, no competition, the greatest, most enjoyable job I've ever had. I've basically returned to IT. Even though I graduated with an engineering degree, I'm not working as an engineer. I'm working as an IT person, and that's really, really interesting to me because it's gone full circle. My whole life, I had planned on going into IT, and then in my last year of high school, my high school guidance counselor convinced me to go to university instead of community college for IT. So I went to university, took 6 years to get an electrical engineering degree, couldn't find work in engineering, and now it's gone full circle and I've returned back to IT, and that's so cool. And I'm actually super thankful for that because I don't think I wanted to become an engineer. I just don't. Obviously, I'm super glad I took engineering, and I've learned knowledge and skills that I will use either professionally or personally for the rest of my life. I have no regrets about taking engineering, even if I may ultimately never become an engineer, never become a professional engineer, or register even as an engineer in training. I don't regret it because, it was an experience that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. And I also believe in the butterfly effect. The butterfly effect is that one thing leads to another, and things that may seem completely unrelated may in fact have a correlation from one event to the next. The namesake example being you kill a butterfly and it could change the future of the entire world. Well, I believe in that a great deal. And as such, I believe that if I hadn't have taken electrical engineering for 6 years and failed a bunch of courses, which is why I had to take 2 extra years. And if I hadn't have had trouble finding employment after I graduated, and if I hadn't have had to move back here to my mom's house, I wouldn't have the job I have now. And I am super glad that I have the job I have now. These past 3 weeks, I've loved it so much. My ultimate goal wasn't to, have this great job and make a ton of money and be rich. My ultimate goal was to be happy, to be fulfilled, to, be able to live a comfortable life without fear of, debts or having to live from paycheck to paycheck. Just live a comfortable and pleasant life, and also be able to get up in the morning and go to a job that I actually enjoy, that I actually look forward to going to, and feel good about when I leave at the end of the day because I've done a good day's work and I made myself useful and purposeful. I'm getting that from this job, and it is just the happiest, most incredible thing that's ever happened in my life. The office I work in, small office, small local company, independent company. I work in an office of 25 women and 3 men, which is just, it's funny, but it's also really awesome because the workplace is so amazing. I have never worked in a friendlier, more caring a workspace than I've had in this place. Going into this place as a trans woman with all these new people in a small town that's still sort of learning to grow up in terms of, what people think about LGBT people and stuff. It's just been such a positive experience for me. All my coworkers just they just treat me like one of their own. They did on day one. And they've all reiterated to me how happy and glad they are that I'm a part of their work family, and it's really amazing. I'm so thankful that I get to work in a place full of such amazing people doing things that I love. So I'm super thankful. Now, how I got this job is actually kind of funny. I didn't actually apply for the job. What happened was basically the local music store here, the record store that sells records and cassettes and CDs and stuff, they had posted on their Facebook page that they were looking for a part-time employee to work in the store. And I thought, well, great, this is great. I love the record store. The guys who own the place know me because I've been in there a few times. Haven't been in there in a while, which is unfortunate. I just never think to go in there. But I'm like, oh, this is great. I might actually have a chance at this because they know me. So I applied, and the position was funded through a government program. And so I had to apply through this government program. And so to do that, I had to speak to someone who works in a government department. It's called PETL, the Department of Post-Secondary Education, Training, and Labor, who oversees, employment and education-related programs for aiding people who need special help with those areas and stuff like that. Well, anyway, this job was through a program funded by that department, so I had to speak to someone in that department. So I sat down with the guy and we had a great conversation. You know, I came there thinking I was there to discuss applying for this job at the record store. But I sat down with him, we conversed for like an hour, and basically the gist of our conversation was he looked at my resume and he looked at me and he said, "You shouldn't be working at the record store. You should be doing something so much better than that." And I was like, "Yeah, I agree, but that's not really happening right now, so, you know, what are my choices?" And he said, "Well, I know so-and-so, who's the owner of the insurance company," and he's like, "They're looking for a techie person to do some work for them." So he described what he knew about the job for me, which didn't hold a candle to what the job actually was. But already through his description, I was like, "Holy crap, that sounds amazing. You know, how do I sign up?" And he said, "Well, I'll give him a call tonight. You email me your resume. I'll give him a call. I'll forward him your resume, and they'll probably get in touch with you for an interview." So I went home that day feeling really hopeful because it was a really good conversation. And I was really hopeful about this job he told me about. I emailed him my resume. He forwarded it to the owner of the insurance company. And a few days later, I got an email from somebody there to set me up for an interview. And the rest is history. It's kind of funny. The interview was very difficult. It's one of the more difficult job interviews I've ever had. Seriously, they grilled me. But I got through it, and evidently I did well, because I got the job. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole story. I've been posting on Twitter, my Twitter page, The Maritime Girl, about some of the cool things I've been doing at my job. The very, very first task that I had at this job was setting up a brand new American power conversion UPS system that had been sitting in his box for months because nobody else there knew how to install a UPS. So that was my first task that I got done. And they actually gave me the old UPS. I have it sitting right over here running right now. It still works. I gotta make a video of it sometime. But I did that. I've been fixing a ton of computer and printing problems because my coworkers haven't had an IT-centric person to rely on for their computer and printing problems and network problems for years. A lot of stuff just didn't work very well there. And so a lot of my job has been going around computer to computer and just doing some stuff to help out my coworkers, whether it's running basic maintenance tasks to make their computers run better, installing, you know, antiviruses, installing Windows updates because some people weren't getting Windows updates, installing Microsoft Office. So yeah, as you can gather, very, very cool job, and I'm so glad that I get to return to IT. I guess I didn't finish my thought about why I was glad to return to IT. I'm not sure if I really ever wanted to become an engineer because being an engineer in Canada, engineering in Canada is a very tightly controlled thing. You know, there's a lot of regulations surrounding the engineering profession in Canada. Canada holds engineers to very, very high standards. And you can only be an engineer and call yourself an engineer if you meet those standards, which includes licensing, testing, competence testing, ethics testing, stuff like that. And there's just so much work that goes into being an engineer. You just don't graduate university, find a job, and then you're done. You graduate university, find a job, which, as we've seen and I've seen, can be quite difficult. But after you get the job, you have to register as an engineer in training. After you register as an engineer in training, you need to keep basically a handwritten weekly log of what you do in your job, because I forget if it's every 6 months or something, you have to show that handwritten log that you've been updating every week to the local engineering regulatory body here in the province of New Brunswick. It's APEG-NB, the Association of Professional Engineers and Geoscientists New Brunswick. You have to show them that, and after 4 years of being an engineer in training and keeping that handwritten log and showing them the handwritten log, then you're eligible to be a professional engineer. To do that, you have to take a written test. And if you pass that written test, then you can be a professional engineer. Once you become a professional engineer, you have to keep doing that handwritten log because you have to periodically prove to the regulatory body that you're properly doing your job as an engineer. You have to keep a second log of off-work engineering-related activities to show the regulatory body that even when you're not at work, you're doing things to improve yourself as an engineer. This could be reading manuals, taking online courses, doing personal, maybe hobby-related stuff that's related to engineering, reading technical journals. You have to keep doing that and do so many hours per week or per month or whatever of doing that. And you have to do that forever to remain eligible to stay licensed, to remain a licensed professional engineer. It's super complex. And I learned all this stuff in my last year of my electrical engineering program because that's when they teach all that stuff. And I was like, holy crap, that's so complex. And I fully understand why they do it. It's just like, it just makes me anxious of the thought of having to do all that. But now that I have this job that's not engineering related, I'm not going to register as an engineer in training. I don't have to do any of that. I just go to work, I do a good day's work, I go home, I feel good, I sleep, I get up the next morning and do it all again. And that's really, that's all I want. You know, I don't want to have to worry about all this extra crap. I just want to work. I want to do my work and do other stuff when I get home. And that's what I'm doing now, and I'm really, really happy. It's kind of bittersweet that I'm not going to be putting those skills to as much use as they otherwise would anymore. But at the end of the day, my only goal is to be happy, and I'm definitely happy with what I'm doing now. So I'm going to stop it because I know I'm rambling. There's the story. New job. Next week marks a month that I've been there, and I just couldn't be happier. It's the happiest, most fulfilling thing that's ever happened in my life. Seriously. So we move on to the next subject of this video, which you can probably guess what it is. I put a deposit down on an apartment a couple of weeks ago. So in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I will be moving into a new apartment. It's in the same town, obviously, so it's close to my job. It's close to Mom's house here. It's a really cute little single-bedroom apartment. Really nice apartment. It's in good shape. It's slightly smaller than my last apartment that I had, but it's quite a bit cheaper, and it's a nice place, and as far as I can tell, based on what I've seen so far, and, you know, fingers crossed, I don't think I'll be having neighbor problems like I did in my last apartment, because you guys might remember I had some major neighbor problems, being kept awake half the night. I have hope and confidence that this won't be the problem with this apartment, because the landlord is super, super serious, like really serious, about having quiet people that aren't going to cause a disruption to other people in the building, in the apartments. And how I know that he's really, really serious is because he actually grilled me. I spoke on the telephone to him when I was interested in seeing the apartment, and he's like, do you smoke? Do you do any drugs? Do you party? Like, he was putting the questions to me to see that, you know, I was somebody he actually wants to be in there. And then he asked me for a reference, like a previous landlord's contact information, so I gave him that. And yeah, this guy just seems really serious, so I have a lot of hope that this apartment's going to be really good. And if it doesn't turn out to work out, that's okay too, because it's a month-to-month lease, and, you know, if something's gone awry and I'm having a bad night or something, I can come back here to spend the night. My bed will remain here. All my furnishings from my last apartment, they're in the storage unit in Fredericton right now, so I'll be moving that all down here. So I'll have my bed in my apartment, and I'll have my bed here if I need it. Hopefully I won't, but, you know, it makes me feel better that you know, if things don't work out, I always have a place here. So, but hopefully that shouldn't happen. I'm really hopeful that it doesn't. And I'm going to be so excited once I get moved in to give you guys the grand tour of that apartment, the MTV crib tour, as Jack put it. So, yeah, once that happens, that's going to be really cool. And it's not going to turn into a huge mess like my last apartment was. You guys know my last apartment was very, very cluttered. That's not going to happen this time because I'm going to get a storage unit down here where I'm going to put all my extra stuff. I want to keep my apartment really nice. I want to keep it a pleasant living space, not a workshop. Particularly because I am now on the search for a potential significant other who would, if things go well, move into my apartment with me. And so with that happening, I definitely don't want a messy apartment. I want a nice, inviting place. So it ain't gonna be messy. I'm gonna have I'm gonna get a storage unit down here to put all my computers and stuff in, and just keep the bare things that I want. Just a few things in the apartment itself to play around with. So that's the story about that. Really excited to move in. I think my technical move-in date is April 1st, but it could be, I doubt it'll be before. It could be a little while after that when I finally get in there, because I have to coordinate with a friend of mine in Fredericton to rent a U-Haul van to bring all my stuff from my storage unit in Fredericton down here. And it's a second floor apartment. This is my first apartment I'll have ever had that's not in the basement. But because it's a second floor apartment, there's a flight of stairs that my furniture is going to have to be hauled up into. So that'll be a fun weekend doing that. Anyway, that's the whole scoop. New job, new apartment. Life has made a major turnaround for me, and I'm super thankful for that. Because honestly, I had started to lose hope. You know, the months going by, and, you know, the employment thing not working out. It's like, is this what my life's always going to be like? Because if it is, I don't want it. You know, seriously. But patience and perseverance and a little bit of luck paid off. And I was in the right place at the right time. And, yeah, things couldn't have worked out better, honestly. So that wraps it up for today's video. Normal videos will resume as usual. Got a lot of cool videos lined up. I always have a massive backlog of videos to make. Videos of cool new things that you haven't seen yet. I've got a couple more parts of the North Star system to make videos about. I'm really into that right now. I'm really glad that I put in the effort to set it back up after it's been sitting in its box for like a year or something. I've been having a lot of fun relearning it. I had to relearn some parts of North Star because I had forgotten it because I hadn't touched it in so long. But having the phones mounted on my shelves now and everything nicely wired up. I've actually got an extension in the basement now. I have a cord running down my furnace vent here all the way into the basement, and I've got a North Star phone down there now. It's kind of neat. It's a neat little setup, and I'm having fun playing with it and making videos of it, and I'm glad that some of you are enjoying it as well. So, with that said, that's about all I wanted to talk about in today's video. Thank you so much for your continued support of the channel. Your concern about me whenever I talk about this stuff. Life is good. Life is good right now. And if you think you're in a position where life's never going to get better, just look at me and what turned around for me. It might take a long time, but it'll happen. For every unfortunate thing that happens in life, there's always a big upswing that comes after it. So just keep that in mind. So with that, thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.